So here's the story. Our dear friend Joanna Macy, who is a systems thinker and a great Buddhist elder and teacher and so forth, she was trying to design a different kind of retreat than sitting quietly. And even as you do your loving kindness or compassion practice, feeling a connection with the world, which happens. And it's amazing when you get quiet, the trees talk to you, the earth speaks to you. It doesn't take that much. But she was really concerned about how to illuminate that deeper connection for people that, yes, you can feel inside, but as one of my Zen teachers would say, one more step is necessary, or two. So they did a retreat called, Council for All Beings, Joanna and John C., the great environmentalists. And they would go and meditate out under, get a camp and rent it for a week out under the great redwood trees or by some amazing stream, and they'd get quiet and they'd get deep. So as you can when you get quiet, so that the trees do talk to you, or so that your sense of this separate body starts to dissolve into the vibrations and light that we're all made of. Then they would send the participants to spend a day out in the woods and by the stream and so forth, and say, find a species that particularly speaks to you in this time, this ecological difficult time. And to be playful about it, once you find one that really you commune with, if anything, change what you're wearing to represent it a little bit. So it's a little symbolic, playful. And they came back together in a council. And then in that council, they were asked to speak not as themselves, but to give voice to the particular species that they were connected to. And someone would sit there and say, I speak for the salmon. Our rivers are drying up. Our children have nowhere to go. Our numbers are dying. I want you to hear that we need water released from the dams. We need clean water, not the toxic things and so forth. That I speak for the salmon. You have to hear me. And someone else would say, I speak for the earthworms, or I speak for the dolphins. What are you doing to our seas where I swim? I can't even hear my brothers and sisters when the big ships go by. And what it did is it changed the individual practice of consciousness to the web of being, in a ritual way, in an outer way. But ritual, like the poem that I started with, ritual is a language, a very profound language. When you light a candle, the fire element, everybody goes, oh, fire is here. We're not just having a regular conversation. I did it talking to the, top brass at Google or something when I go into Silicon Valley. I light a candle, they go, whoa, we're not in a regular meeting anymore. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Or you pour some water, and it becomes a gesture of libation or a gesture of healing the fundamental elements, earth, air, fire, water. I was doing a retreat with Malidoma Somé, a West African medicine man and shaman with a couple of PhDs on the side, and Michael Mead, who you probably know, great mythologist, and Hillman, other friends, Luis Rodriguez, fantastic activist, poet. We were working with gang kids coming out of street gangs who came to be with us, trying to find a way of initiation where they didn't die. And we're sitting there, and they're in the room, and their hats are all kind of on backward, and their hoods are up. And, one of them says, hey, man, you got some poems. This guy's a poet here. You got some spiritual stuff. You got to give us something better. We're out in the streets with 9mm. You get what you got for us, some story. So we paused and said, we can't even begin to answer that really important question, because there are too many people in this room who haven't been acknowledged. Would you go out in the parking lot? We lit one candle and put it on a little bare table. Would you go out in the parking lot and pick up a stone for every young person you know who's been killed? And some of these guys would come in and their hands were full of stones. Like, no young person should know that many dead people. And then say their name and put it by the candle. This is a home girl. This is for Tito. This is for RJ. And pretty soon this whole pile of stones grew. And everybody sat down and the hoods came off and the eyes open. And it's like, oh, this is a place we're going to get real. And so ritual and symbol become also like that poem. They become a gateway back to the heart, or to our deep connection. And when we have that in spiritual life, then things open up in a different way.